You've been lied to for most of your life. Not with obvious lies, not with "the world is perfect" nonsense. Worse, you've been lied to with beautiful lies, with lies that sound moral, with lies that make you feel like a good person. Be nice. Don't make a scene. Keep the peace. Be the bigger person. Don't be selfish. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And because you wanted to be good, you swallowed it. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. That voice inside you that keeps trying to make everyone happy, that voice is not your virtue. It's your cage. It's the leash. It's the chain. It's the parasite. It feeds on your time, your energy, your confidence, your ambition, your identity. And the worst part? It doesn't even have to fight you anymore. It trained you to fight yourself. Right now, as you listen, you can probably feel it, that little internal flinch. The part of you that wants to soften this, the part that wants to say, not everyone is like that. The part that wants to scroll away because this sounds too intense. That's the parasite protecting itself. Because if you wake up, it dies, and it knows that. Let me guess what your life has looked like. You said yes when your whole body screamed no. You smiled while your stomach sank. You explained yourself to people who didn't deserve an explanation. You've forgiven things you never should have tolerated. You've given second chances to people who treated you like a disposable object. And you told yourself you were being mature. But deep down, you know the real reason. You were afraid. Not afraid of them. Afraid of disapproval. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of being seen as difficult. Afraid of being called selfish. Afraid of being alone. So you performed. You became adaptable. You became agreeable. You became the person who understands. And slowly, quietly, you became invisible. You watched louder people take the room while you waited for permission. You watched bolder people take credit while you tried to be fair. You watched selfish people take more and more while you tried to be patient. And if you're honest, you're tired. Tired of being the one who always bends. Tired of being the one who always apologizes. Tired of being the one who always gives. You don't want to become cruel. You don't want to become heartless. You just want to stop being prey. Good. Because this isn't about turning you into a monster. It's about turning you into someone who cannot be used. Machiavelli understood something most people never learn until it breaks them. Power is not a mood. Power is not a wish. Power is not something you deserve. Power is something you take back by changing how you move, how you speak, and what you tolerate. So listen closely. These lessons are not comfortable. They are not polite. They are not designed to make you feel safe. They are designed to make you dangerous. Not dangerous with violence, dangerous with boundaries, dangerous with clarity, dangerous with consequences. Because the world respects one thing consistently: the person who can walk away, the person who can say no, the person who isn't desperate to be liked. That person becomes the standard, and you're going to become that person. Let's begin. The first lesson is the one most people never want to admit because it exposes how deep the training goes. You were conditioned, not educated, conditioned, like an animal. From childhood, you were rewarded for being compliant. You were punished for being assertive. You were shamed for wanting more. You were trained to associate confidence with arrogance. You were told that speaking up was disrespectful. You were told that wanting attention was selfish. You were told that conflict was bad. And what did that create? Adults who whisper their needs. Adults who fear confrontation. Adults who over-explain their boundaries. Adults who apologize for existing. And then you wonder why people walk over you. It started early. Think about school. They taught you to raise your hand, to wait your turn, to be quiet, to share, to not interrupt,
to not think you're special. You thought it was about kindness. But look at the result. The people who win in the adult world rarely play by those rules. In a meeting, who gets heard? The person who politely waits, or the person who takes the floor? In negotiations, who gets what they want? The person who tries to be fair, or the person who pushes with certainty? In relationships, who sets the tone? The person who constantly adapts, or the person who has standards and consequences? You've been playing a game with rules designed for children, but you're not a child anymore. And if you keep using child rules in an adult world, you will keep losing. The first lesson to power is not confidence, it's awareness. You have to see the leash before you can remove it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing how often you silence yourself, how often you swallow your truth, how often you perform politeness while resentment grows inside you. And here's the brutal part. Every time you obey that conditioning, you teach people how to treat you. People don't respect what you feel, they respect what you enforce. So you stop rewarding disrespect with patience. You stop smiling while you're being diminished. You stop treating your own discomfort like something that needs to be hidden. The second lesson is even darker, and most people hate it because it destroys their fantasy about human nature. Most people are not rooting for you. They say they are. They'll like your posts. They'll comment, "So proud of you." They'll smile. They'll hug you. But watch the eyes. Watch what happens when you win. When you announce your success, there's often a flicker, a fraction of a second, a micro-expression, a delay. And in that tiny gap, you see the truth. Jealousy, resentment, comparison. Why them? Why not me? Must be nice. They think they're better now. This is not pessimism. This is biology. Human beings compete. Human beings compare. Human beings protect their ego. Many people don't hate you. They hate what your success makes them feel about themselves. And if you keep sharing your dreams with insecure people, they will poison them. Not always openly, not always intentionally, but they will. They'll warn you. They'll be realistic. They'll keep you grounded. They'll joke. They'll doubt. And if you're a people pleaser, you'll interpret that as care. It's not always care. Sometimes it's sabotage wearing a friendly face. Machiavelli's world was full of smiling enemies. So is yours. The mistake you've been making is assuming people are good because they're polite. Politeness is a strategy. A predator can be polite. A liar can be charming. A user can be warm. So you stop giving trust as a default. Trust is earned. Respect is earned. Access to your life is earned. You stop pouring your plans into mouths that secretly want to watch you fail. You don't announce, you execute. You don't seek applause, you create undeniable results. Because people can debate your potential, they can't debate your outcome. The third lesson is the one that changes how you speak forever. Nice people get used. Truth tellers get respected. Think of someone you truly respect. Not someone you like, someone you respect. Are they nice? Probably not. They might be fair. They might be calm. They might be controlled, but they are rarely nice. Nice people are useful, and useful people are taken for granted. At work, who gets extra tasks? The nice person who can't say no. Who gets interrupted? The nice person who doesn't push back. Who gets credit stolen? The nice person who doesn't create consequences. And then you wonder why it keeps happening. Because your niceness tells people one thing: there is no cost. No cost to ignoring you. No cost to crossing you. No cost to disrespecting you. So they do it. Not because they're evil, because it works. Truth-telling changes the game because truth creates friction, and friction creates respect. When you say, "That's not okay," you are no longer easy. When you say, "That won't work," you stop being decorative. When you say, "I'm not doing that," you stop being a tool. Truth is not always kind, but it is powerful. And power is what makes people take you seriously. The fourth lesson is where your freedom begins, and it's painful because it forces you to confront your addiction. Your addiction is approval. You don't just want people to accept you, you need it. You need the nod, the smile, the "you're good," the "don't worry," the reassurance. And because you need it, you can be controlled with it. If someone can remove your sense of worth with a frown, they own you. That's the trap. Approval seeking turns you into a performer. You shapeshift. You become whatever gets the least resistance. And after years of that, you wake up and realize you don't know.
They rush to fix it. They rush to smooth it. They rush to rescue the moment. And that makes them weak. Because whoever can sit calmly inside tension controls the room. When someone makes a bad joke and you don't laugh, you set a standard. When someone tries to guilt you and you don't react, you keep your frame. When someone pushes and you don't fold, you become gravity. People adjust to strength, not because they love it, because they feel it. So you stop being the emotional caretaker of everyone around you. You stop managing other people's comfort. You stop filling every silence like silence is death. You let the pause exist. You let their discomfort belong to them, and suddenly something shifts. You become the person people watch, not the person who watches others. The sixth lesson is the weapon most people don't even realize exists, yet it controls nearly every interaction. Frame control. Every room has a frame, a reality, a set of rules, a hidden agreement about what's normal and what's allowed. People pleasers walk into rooms asking, "How do I fit in?" Powerful people ask, "How do I make this fit me?" Frame control is refusing to accept someone else's emotional script. Someone tries to guilt you for saying no. Weak frame, you explain, apologize, soften. Strong frame, you repeat the no. No is not cruel. No is a boundary. Someone is late. Weak frame, no worries, while resentment grows. Strong frame, don't do that again. Someone disrespects you. Weak frame, you laugh it off to keep peace. Strong frame, you call it what it is. Frame control has 3 laws. Say the truth without apology. Don't manage emotions you didn't create. Make people adjust to your standards. And yes, this will make some people uncomfortable. Good. Discomfort is the doorway to respect. The 7th lesson is where you stop being owned. Strong people don't seek permission. They validate themselves. They don't constantly ask, "Is this okay?" They decide what's okay. They don't fish for compliments. They know their value. They don't shrink to make others feel safe. People pleasers do the opposite. They ask for permission to exist. They ask for permission to want. They ask for permission to take space. And the world treats them exactly as they present themselves, as optional. The moment you stop seeking approval, something strange happens. People start seeking yours, because the human mind chases what is not desperate. Desperation smells like weakness, and weakness attracts takers. You become calmer. You become slower. You stop over-explaining. You stop auditioning for acceptance. You move like someone who belongs. And when you move like you belong, people treat you like you do. The 8th lesson is cruel, but it will save your life. People don't want fairness. They want advantage. Watch what happens when you set a boundary. The person who benefited from your lack of boundaries will get angry, not because you're unfair, because you're no longer exploitable. The friend who calls you changed when you stop lending money, they don't miss you, they miss the access. The coworker who says you're not a team player when you stop doing their job, they don't care about teamwork, they care about free labor. The family member who calls you selfish when you stop hosting everything, they don't miss your presence, they miss your service. This is the moment people pleasers collapse. They feel guilty, they apologize, they return to the old role, and the user smiles again. Don't fall for it. Your guilt is not proof you're wrong. Your guilt is withdrawal, because you've been addicted to being needed. But being needed is not love. Being needed is often just convenience. So you hold the line. No apology, no justification. Your boundary is the message. The 9th lesson is psychological, and it's dangerous in the right hands. Approval is power. Most people give it away freely. They compliment constantly. They validate constantly. They react instantly. And that makes their attention cheap. But scarcity creates value. When your approval is rare, it becomes weight. When your compliments are selective, they land deeper. When you're not instantly available, your time becomes valuable. People chase what is scarce, not because they're bad, because they're human. So you stop handing out validation like it's charity. You stop praising mediocrity. You stop rewarding bare minimum behavior. You make excellence the standard. And you communicate approval in small signals, a nod, a brief smile, a short good, not a parade. And suddenly, people start trying harder around you. They adjust their behavior. They want to earn it, because your attention is no longer guaranteed, and that means you are no longer easily manipulated. The final lesson is the one people pretend they don't believe, while their whole life proves they do. Respect is not created by love. Respect is created by consequence. Not violence, not cruelty, consequence. People don't change for someone they can disappoint with no cost. They change for someone whose disapproval matters. They change when they fear losing your respect. They change when they know you will walk away. Nice people have no influence because their words have no weight. There's no cost. They forgive everything. They tolerate everything. They stay. So people push and push and push until the nice person breaks. But the powerful person has standards that are not negotiable. They are willing to be misunderstood. They are willing to be disliked. They are willing to be the bad guy, because they understand something you're finally learning. Being liked is not power. Being taken seriously is power. And being taken seriously requires consequence. It requires the ability to say, if you do that again, I'm gone, and mean it, not as a threat, as a fact. Because the strongest weapon you have is not anger, it's absence. Your absence is the punishment. Your presence is the reward. And once people feel that, they start moving differently around you. They start watching their behavior. They start respecting your time. They start adjusting to your standards, not because you begged, because you became someone who cannot be used. Now listen, these lessons are not an invitation to become cruel. They're an invitation to become untouchable. You can still be kind, but your kindness becomes selective. You can still be generous, but your generosity becomes strategic. You can still be warm, but your warmth is not for people who disrespect you. This is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming free. Free from guilt, free from manipulation, free from the need to be liked, free from the voice that has been keeping you small. So here's your mission. Kill the people pleaser inside you. Not your empathy, not your humanity, the people pleaser. The part of you that betrays yourself to earn approval. The part that apologizes for having needs. The part that fears conflict more than it fears regret. Because that part is not virtue. It is weakness disguised as goodness. And weakness is expensive.
It costs you opportunities. It costs you respect. It costs you self-worth. Starting today, you choose something else. You choose standards over approval. You choose truth over comfort. You choose boundaries over guilt. And yes, some people will leave. Let them. They weren't loyal to you. They were loyal to the version of you they could control. You're not losing people. You're losing parasites. And when you finally stop being prey, you'll notice something that will shock you. The world changes. Not because people suddenly become good, but because you stop advertising yourself as disposable. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with fewer words. You stop explaining. You stop chasing. And people feel it. Because deep down, everyone understands power. They just pretend they don't. Now, before you go, drop this sentence somewhere you can see it. In your notes, on your wall, in your mind. And read it until it becomes true. I do not exist to be liked. I exist to be respected, and I will protect my power. Now go and become someone the world can't play with anymore.